Hi YouTube friends. Today we have a new video where we are going to be replacing this just single light fixture and this smart dimmer switch with a ceiling fan and light combo with a remote control and a smart just on off switch. If you're like me in a situation where you have just a single light switch like this, where it is just simply turning off a single light fixture like that, where you really need to have a two-gang switch to be able to control both the light and the fan both. And if you don't want to add another wire to go through all the walls and through the ceiling and then come back down over there, and you just want to use the existing light switch, that's where a remote operated ceiling fan light comes into play. So in this case, we got these Hunter Avaya ceiling fans. They're 48 inch for a fairly small room. This is going to be our workout room. It's also a low profile as well, so that it sticks up fairly high to the ceiling. But it also operates with a remote control, so we don't have to rewire our single gang switch to a dual gang switch. And we have to replace our existing smart dimmer switch with a different switch because the dimmer switches won't work with this style of ceiling fan and light. It'll make the ceiling fan hum a lot, and you won't like that. So we have to replace it with one of these. This is another Caseta product by Lutron, and it's just a single on-off switch that is meant for fans or just an on-off application. So we're replacing that so that we can still have it integrated into our smart home, but it'll work properly with this fan setup with the remote, because there's not going to be any pull chains or anything like that we're going to be using in this case. It's just going to simply be on-off, and then the remote will control the light and the fan combo together. So here's what I think we're going to need for tools today. Of course, I got my tool bag here where I've got some screwdrivers, some pliers, a couple of different options for wire trimmers, razor blade, some pencils, my tape measure, and of course the Super 88 black electrical tape in case we need that. We're going to need some extra lights, so I got my headband light, another just work light, and we're going to have a drill with some bits and some drill bits as well. So I think that's all we need. Oh, and of course we're going to need a ladder to get up there. Let's go ahead and get started. First off, we're going to start with a quick unboxing just to kind of see what we have inside the box, see what the instructions have to say, and figure out our game plan. So first, the Lutron Caseta switch is just one of these. It's just a simple on-off switch. So currently we have the dimmer switch like this one here, which will not work with this application. So we're going to be replacing this with that. It should be easy peasy. Okay, I've got the instructions. So first thing we do with these is toss them. Just kidding. In this case, I think we're going to need them because we are going to need to understand how the wiring goes with the remote control, broadcaster, receiver, all of that kind of stuff. So it does have some detailed instructions here that we're going to need to follow along the way. All right, let me take a quick glance through those and see what we have to do here. Other than that, it looks like they've got it pretty organized here for us to be able to pull these parts out. Looks like maybe as we need them, hopefully. The very first thing we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and turn the power off, and then we're going to go ahead and take this old light fixture down. Should be a pretty quick removal process. It's going to be pretty easy to take off. Just loosen these two little screws, back this whole thing here out. This whole thing will come down. Then we'll check to make sure there's no power coming in. Okay, I got this thing deboxed. It was actually very nicely wrapped. So I've got it laid out here in a way which I think, by glancing at the instructions, which we're going to install it, which is, this is going to be the main base. It gets connected to the electrical outlet box up there. Then this gets connected to that. So this goes on top and then that goes on. And of course it has a really nice hardware kit here. Yeah, first thing we're going to do is we're going to use the existing machine screws because they're already connected to a wall outlet up there that is connected to the ceiling joists. So it will support this weight of this fan. So we're going to use the machine screws to connect this to the existing outlet box. Let's go ahead and get at it. We're going to put the existing wires through here like this. Got this attached, tried to center them as much as possible, so this is as centered as possible. You can see these little rubber footers are kind of up against the sheetrock here. Well, now we have this installed with the machine screws. Next was to place the trim ring over the top of the motor, and then to place the wiring trim ring over the top of that. So this is how we've got that set up. So this is the motor, it's the first trim ring, and it goes on just like that, aligns up, and then we line these up with all of those holes like that. We have the assembly together per the instructions. Next is to just take this whole assembly and put it up into the bracket that we just put up there like that, and attach it to, looks like this area right here, and just let it hang back like that. So then we can do the wiring after that. So let's go ahead and get this hung up. Well, we got this motor unit assembly connected, and it's connected to these little brackets right here, and just these little slots. Had to pull this little part here off in order to attach that up there, and later you just press this up once we have all the wiring and stuff like that done in there. So now we just have to get the wiring diagram out, take a look at how to wire this up, get the remote receiver and get that wired up and put in there as well. This looks pretty straightforward. So we have the remote receiver here, got the black and white wire and then the blue and yellow wire. So it looks like first step we do is we have a white wire coming out of here. We have another white wire coming out from the ceiling, and then the white wire goes to the remote. And then the black wire to the black wire, and the green wire to the copper wire. And then we'll come down and finish it off with the blue to the blue and the black to the yellow. Looks pretty easy. Quick progress report here. Got the green to the copper tucked up in there. We have all the whites, the white coming out of the remote, the white coming out of the motor, and the white coming out of the ceiling, all wired together. And then the black coming out of the remote goes to the black coming out of the ceiling. So next, wire all of this stuff up to the bottom of the remote here per the instructions. Here we have it, all wired together. Now we just gotta get it all tucked in there nice and figure out how to get that in there as well. And then we can put the set screws in the fan and then reconnect the ring. Got the set screws all set up in here the way we want them. And so I think we just got to push this up and it will snap in place around the edge there. But before I do that, I think I'm going to get maybe a Mr. Magic eraser or something and try and clean up this ring around the ceiling here so that's not so obvious. Got the little ring stuck back up on there. It just presses up on there and snaps in place. So I think we're on to installing the fan blades now. Should be pretty easy to do. sugarcoat nothing. This was by far the sort of the crappiest part of the entire job. A lot of screws to put in here. Really hard to get a line just right while you're up on the ladder, kind of look underneath there, trying to get the alignment, trying to get them all screwed in there. And there's a lot of them, so not the funnest part of this job. Certainly, so far, the hardest part. I think the rest of it's gonna be pretty easy, where we just not connect the wiring. So now we install this, of course, with the hunter side properly. Pull that wire through there and guide those 2 screws in there. Get that set up in there and the set screw in, and now we're going to take that wire there and connect it to that block wire there and tuck it all in there nice and neat, and then tuck this up underneath there and screw it down. Got the wires all tucked up in there like they're supposed to be, and then got these 3 screws in here. We'll get the light bulbs, put them in, and put the glass on. Here we have the light bulbs installed and the glass all installed, and the next step is to install the light switch. Here we're going to replace the dimmer smart switch with a on-off smart switch. In this case, we're going to cap the blue one, and I'm going to get some new wire nuts to connect these together. Green goes to ground, red, this one, black, goes to this one. So I think we got it all wired up. We are going to go turn the power back on and give it a quick test. After I turned the power back on, and when I walked back into the room, the light was already on, the new ceiling fan light. I was able to turn it on and off with the new smart switch, as well as cycle the fan on and off and increase and decrease the fan speed. I also tested dimming the lights with the remote. Now, everything was working just as expected. So there we have it. We have the light switch changed out. It turns on the light if we left the remote with the light turned on. So we'll turn it on, turn it off, we'll turn it off. Whatever the last setting was that you had left on the remote. So if you had the fan going on slow and the light turned on to bright, that's how it's going to turn it back on. We have our completed project. So we installed the new light switch, we installed the ceiling light fan with the remote, and it is working the way we want it to. So thanks for coming along on the journey with us. If you like this video, please give it a like. And if you like this kind of content, please consider subscribing. Thanks for watching and have a great day.